Let's talk now about the different denominations or branches of Christianity that start to develop after Martin Luther. So you have the Catholic Church, which splits into different Protestant branches. Luther created the Lutheran Church, which becomes popular in Germany, where Luther's from. And John Calvin creates Calvinism. And out of Calvinism comes some other Christian denominations we're familiar with. The Puritans, they actually settle in the northeastern United States. The Pilgrims, they are Puritan. The Huguenots, they are French and they follow Calvin. And the Presbyterians, there are many Presbyterian denominations in the United States today. They come from the ideas of John Calvin. And there's another Protestant branch in England we're now going to talk about, and that is the Anglicans. King Henry VIII and Queen Elizabeth I start the Anglican Church in England. Let's explore that now. Here's King Henry VIII. He's known for his fashion. So look at a picture of him. You see the fashion of the day in the 1500s in England. King Henry VIII was a devout Catholic. He became king in 1509, and the Pope at the time called him the defender of the faith. However, that would not last. He would fall out of favor with the Pope. Why? Because King Henry VIII wanted to divorce his first wife, Catherine of Aragon. Why? Because Catherine could not bear him a male heir to the English throne. When King Henry VIII died, he wanted a son to take over for him, but his first wife could not give him that son. Now, King Henry VIII wanted a divorce, but the Pope refused to annul or cancel Henry's marriage. It was against the Catholic religion, according to the Pope. So King Henry VIII took matters into his own hands, and Henry ordered the British Parliament to legalize the divorce and create a Church of England, which would later become the Anglican Church. King Henry VIII went over the Pope and overruled the Pope. And then Henry VIII marries a younger woman, Anne Boleyn, in 1533. And King Henry VIII would go on to have 6 wives in total, and they are here. Catherine of Aragon, and then Anne Boleyn, and he would actually execute Anne Boleyn after he accused her of cheating. And the third wife of Henry VIII would be Jane Seymour. Jane Seymour died of natural disease. So Henry VIII had a fourth wife, Anne of Cleves, who he also divorced. And when he divorced Anne of Cleves, he had a fifth wife, Catherine Howard, who he beheaded. And then there is another Catherine, who is the sixth wife of Henry VIII, Catherine Parr, and she lived and died of natural causes. So those are the 6 wives of Henry VIII. And these are the 3 children that come out of the marriages of Henry VIII. The most successful of the children would actually be not the son, Edward, but Elizabeth I. She would become queen and become the Virgin Queen, someone who was well respected and still is well respected in England. We're going to talk about her now. Here she is on the throne. And what did Queen Elizabeth I of England accomplish? Well, she was respected as a woman leader. She brought stability to England and ruled for 44 years. She made the Anglican Church the only legal church of England, and she brought religious peace. She pleased the Catholics in England by keeping traditional clothing in the church, and she pleased the Protestants of England by having the church service in English, not Latin. And she said the priests in the Anglican Church can marry. So she was able to please both the Catholics and the Protestants, which was not easy to do. She also was a good politician. She worked to expand the English Empire, and she had a war with Spain that we'll talk about now. Elizabeth I helps England defeat the Spanish Armada, the Spanish Navy, which was very strong at this time. So here's the matchup. Mary I and Philip II of Spain versus Elizabeth I of England. What were the problems between these two groups? Well, religion. The Spanish were very Catholic, and the English broke away from the Catholic Church. The English were pirates. They had many sailors who would steal Spanish goods as they traded them across the Atlantic Ocean. Also, Philip II, he thought he had a rightful claim to the English throne, and that was a point of tension. Who won? The English, of course. Elizabeth I defeats the Spanish Armada, and the victory improves England's international reputation, and it solidifies Elizabeth I as a good leader in the eyes of those in England and those in Europe. Moving on, who spreads Luther's ideas during the Protestant Reformation? There's one man whose invention was so important, and that man is Johann Gutenberg of Germany. What does he do? He borrows past ideas from European and Asian inventors to create the movable type printing press. Some would say this invention is more important than the internet. And why? It made books affordable for peasants and common people and increased literacy. When you can read for yourself, you can think for yourself. When you can think for yourself, you will not get manipulated by powerful people, rulers, and politicians. The first book that Gutenberg's printing press printed was the Bible. So it relates to the Protestant Reformation in that way. People could read the Bible for themselves. Gutenberg's printing press had power. Why? Take a look at how long it took one person, a copyist, to produce a single book. 5 months. The printing press then comes along, and copyists are no longer in business. One man and a printing press could produce 500 books in the same amount of time. It took one copyist to produce one book. So you see how much easier it is to produce books, thanks to Gutenberg. All right, we're almost done. We're rounding that corner. We have the summary questions left. So please answer those questions on your sheet. And when you are done with that, we're almost done. Next lesson, a little preview, the Catholic or Counter-Reformation. The Catholic Church strikes back and realizes they need to change. So they meet in a town in Italy, and this is a picture of that meeting called the Council of Trent, and they change their ways because they are losing worshipers and money and power. So the Counter-Reformation is a way the Catholic Church tries to prevent their loss of power. Until next time, this is Mr. Deegan, signing